What's up, Overwatch fans? Welcome to another edition of the Watchpoint Post Show, coming to you live from downtown LA at the Kit Kat Rivalry Weekend. I'm your host, Malik Forte, joined by Zoe, Brent, and Josh. Something just dropped there. Guys, can you say Kit Kat Rivalry Weekend 3 times very fast?
Of course. It's the Kit Kat Rivalry Weekend. Kit Kat Rivalry Weekend. Kit Kat Rivalry Weekend.
You look like a weasel.
Yeah, you did.
You look like a weasel. This is the kind of
RuneScape
abuse
goblin
I get on this show.
It is my Patronus. I do like weasels.
Weasels?
Weasels.
I'm the weasel.
You're a bit of a rap out there. That was impressive.
I got hidden talent.
Well, guys, woosah. Let's take a deep breath because it's been a very entertaining day. That last match was insane.
It was fire.
So let's go ahead and jump into the highlights. Now, guys, coming into the half, our final battle of LA was all tied up 1-1. And it was the LA Valiant who needed this match more than anything. Their playoff hopes hanging in the balance. And let me tell you, the second half did not disappoint at all.
No, it certainly didn't, but neither did the first one. I felt like a lot of those players just felt like, you know what, like this is one of our last few games, so let's make it a highlight reel. And then they just popped up. So we saw several individuals doing just that. We had amazing plays from KSF. Agilities on that Pharah was absolutely fantastic. And then on Volskaya, Gladiators turned it up as well.
Yeah, but here's where it started to crumble a little bit if you were a Valiant fan. I mean, Shovel had a few shining moments, but it wasn't until the second half where it really started to shine. And honestly, I gotta say it, the back of this loss was down to quite a few mistakes from Valiant in terms of how they were using the ultimates. They were taking risky angles, risky flanks, and just getting picked off quite a lot. KSF was probably one of the only shining lights for Valiant in this map as a whole, but even then, yeah, it was a tough showing.
I think I agree with Matt that though that 2K at the end of Volskaya was really where everything turned around. Both teams struggled a little bit with being able to push point A. Neither team are very clinical with how they execute that, and Showfall liked to play a lot of the Widowmaker, but the more we went through Blizzard World, the more that Showfall made his presence known. His Hansel really started being able to click the later in the series. And I've actually noticed that as a bit of a trend. We had a Route 66 game where he came online enormously against the Hangzhou Spark as well, after being a bit quiet in the series. Maybe he just needs some time to warm up, but Showfall really started getting going in the second half.
He got aggressive.
Yeah, and it was this map here, Havana, that we thought it was going to turn around a little bit because, I mean, Agility's playing the fire with the close-up defense is usually can't quite be broken, but I mean the Gladiators again just managed to win a lot of the neutral games coming into this. The whole hooks were on point for them, but you can't say the same for the Valiant, unfortunately.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about mistakes from the Los Angeles Valiant, I mean, most of it's got to be down to pressure, got to be down to nerves. They're playing on the big stage, so much on the line.
Yeah.
But we saw Space going for these hero plays constantly, and Agility's
as well.
Agility's getting caught out aggressive a lot.
Yeah, like I'm not sure if that was even something they planned. I do feel like the pressure got to them and they just kind of went off script and decided to like go in solo and hope to make that big play, make it happen for their team. But unfortunately, that didn't work. And really, they looked so much better whenever they actually stayed together and played more cohesive and didn't try to go for wonky flanks or something along those lines.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think it's very strange to have your Roadhog player be flanking so much in a match, which might be because the Gladiators tend to play quite narrow, as I was saying at the halftime, right? They don't really take control of the flanks that much, so that does give opportunities for Space to roam and look for hooks, but the whole hook is just such a more efficient way of being able to get those picks.
Right. And that's another chapter in the Battle for LA book that has been written. And the Gladiators, that's 2 straight for them. So all time, they're catching up. Almost tied. The next match will be deciding that. But, man, for the LA Valiant, this is more than the Battle of LA for them.
Yeah.
This was their playoff hopes.
They didn't make it easier for them. Now they have to go through shock. And looking at how they've turned up today, this is going to be really, really rough.
Yeah, insanely difficult. I mean, if they're able to beat the San Francisco Shock, we could see another Battle of LA this season. I mean, it's possible, right? They could make a run all the way through the play-in tournament and end up facing the Gladiators.
But they've got to overcome.
It seems so unlikely.
Probably the best team right now in Stage 4.
Yeah.
And that is one hell of a hard task ahead of them, you know?
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, they won't have really been prepping that much, I think, for the Shock as well. Because if you're looking at the script and it says Gladiators and then Shock, you're putting most of your eggs in the basket of, like, we think we can win the battle for LA. And now that they haven't, it was so close, but it slipped out of their fingers, I don't think they'll feel that confident going into tomorrow.
Do you think they can? Do you guys believe it?
I mean,
It's an uphill
just coming off the
battle.
back of today.
It's an uphill battle, but I do not think. I think there were too many small mistakes, which we just don't see on the side of Shock.
Right.
They just play so much tighter, so much more cohesive and coordinated. I think the Valiant were a little bit too chaotic, and I think Shock can and will take advantage of that.
Well, we're going to see about that tomorrow. And something else that's worth noting, the LA Gladiators, with that win, they pretty much secured themselves the 5th spot in our playoffs. So they don't have to face the San Francisco Shock in the first round. They'll be playing against the Hangzhou Sparks. So that's a good positioning for them.
Huge win.
Huge win.
Actually, a massive win for them when it comes to the playoffs, because that first round Shock, they ain't looking kind. I'm not going to lie. Nobody really wants a 6th seed right now.
Apart from Atlanta Reign, who would actually, I think, be happy with the 6th seed rather than having to play in the play-in tournament, because who knows?
But playing is single LM, right?
Yeah.
So that's a scary thought as well, because all the teams which are currently in those play-in cutoffs, like, they're scary too. We have to charge there, the Shanghai Dragons and whatnot. Like, those are all teams which, on a good day, can defeat the top.
Right, indeed. And, speaking of the top, the 2 top teams for most of the season did battle today. The San Francisco Shock went up against the Titans, the Vancouver Titans. I'm like,
it's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
Don't worry about it.
But, this was another rematch between these 2 teams. Every match these 2 teams have played has been close. Wow. But this is the first one on this battle. This is the first time we got to see the DPS players shine, and it was super entertaining.
It did not disappoint. I was a little bit worried that it might, honestly, because the Titans, they were looking like they were kind of waning a little bit in terms of their strength, but oh boy, was this a series to watch. I mean, again, like I said earlier in the halftime, we had been looking at this match, August 24th. We're just waiting and waiting, because it was bound to be a banger.
I do think it's incredibly interesting that they played Stitch and So Min-Soo for the entirety of the series. They didn't field Haxel. They played basically this May Reaper comp the entire time.
The maps don't really suit Haxel. You've been playing Volskaya?
Absolutely does suit Haxel.
You think so?
I'm sorry, playing May Reaper on Volskaya is a really bad decision in my opinion. Like, Volskaya and Havana as well are not good May Reaper maps, and I think they really struggled at times. They managed to pull out the wins on King's Row and on the control map where things are more tightly knit. We see a lot of May Reaper, but I think they've got to add something else into their arsenal. They've got to find a way of being able to play May Hanzo. If they want to run Stitch and So Min-Soo has to pick up the Hanzo.
It was good seeing Sinatra in the game. He was popping off on Doomfist. I know Puckett was happy to see this right here.
He nearly single-handedly carried Shock to a King's Row win. That would have all been off the back of Sinatra's Doomfist. It's looking nutty right now.
Yeah. I loved the battle between Cho Hyobin and Janu. I think that was a fantastic one to watch. Both are very team-oriented divas. They play really, really well around their team, around their backlines, really making sure that they're not just dying off and really not allowing too much to get done from their DPS heroes on the other side.
Right, just those annoying divas that are always there when you're trying to take out the back line. They're just always there.
But this is the kind of thing that I mean. Look at this composition, the Doomfist with the Hanzo, and then they play May Reaper here when they're trying to attack. These are not comps that you see other teams using on Havana. These are not, like, I'm amazed that Titans ended up making it this close. I think that speaks good, actually, about the Titans moving forwards. Because if they find a way of being able to mix it up and play more meta compositions, their teamwork and coordination and their tank play is looking strong.
So you think Haxel is going to end up like Pine, like a secret weapon?
I mean, that seems to be the way that they want to use him, is they want to use him on maps where he can flex a little bit of his Genji, like you see on the Nubis, like you see on Hanamura as well occasionally. And, I mean, it seems like they are taking him in those scenarios. Now,
have they even been practicing for this patch? Or is Stitch So Min-Soo the combo that they want to run on the playoff patch, and that's why they were fielding them here?
That's a good question.
That, I think, might be more of the reason.
If ranked is any indication right now, we're going to be seeing a very, very different meta than what we are right now.
Yeah.
Similar, we're going to still keep seeing Orisa, but it seems like the double barrier is the way to go. Double
like
shield,
a lot of Sigma.
With the Sigma.
Yeah.
So, and with that, it kind of takes a lot of the DPS characters that we were seeing right now out of the equation. So, I mean, that's a very good point. Are they even prepping right now for this meta?
I mean, they don't... That match didn't really mean something for them in terms of standings and whatnot. So, if anything, they could have just used that as a scrim with fans.
Sure.
Yeah.
It seems like both teams were going at it hammer and tongs, though. It didn't really seem like either team was stepping off the gas. I really believe that this is a rivalry that the players themselves really care about.
Right.
Because both of these teams are kind of playing for greatest of all time status. The Shock, they haven't had success in 2018. But if they continue this dominance and end up taking the second season, then I think there's a decent argument there that they could make a push for it in the future. I think both of these teams are battling for history right now. So all of these matchups they care about.
I do love the Shock history there, though. The fact that they did say that they built this team for the next season. They had all those underage players which weren't allowed to play, and they knew exactly this is going to hurt them in the first season, but they stuck with it, and they groomed them into those phenomenal star players. So what a fantastic story we have there.
It's like watching a tree grow. You plant
really
the tree and you're watching it grow.
I would never do that because that sounds really
it's
boring.
so awesome. It's so awesome.
What do you mean?
You wouldn't plant a tree?
You know what I mean.
No, I wouldn't watch it grow. I wouldn't plant it.
Okay.
That's what I mean, but you don't.
It was a metaphor,
Zoe.
Zoe.
You plant it. You don't have to sit there and watch
guys,
it.
coming up,
He said, though.
coming up, the Atlanta Reign are hoping to
sorry.
rise like a phoenix to the top 6, but the Dallas Fuel came ready to fight. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk about it more when the Watchpoint pre-show or post-show comes back in a bit.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
No matter what sport it is, the Boston versus New York rivalry is always heated. Today, the NYXL came out on top with the help of damage dealer Flower. It's good to see him in, but Color Hex definitely had some flashes of brilliance as well. But what stood out to you guys in this match?
Well, Flower having a good game was one of them, but it was against the Boston Uprising at the same time. So, I mean, I don't know really how much to read into this, but Flower was always picked up onto New York, and we were waiting and waiting and waiting for him to be eligible for the league. And he never really put up the performance that we were expecting of him. Even in contenders, he wasn't that great, honestly, as well, when he was playing in that in that tier 2 scene, I should say. So this is a good sign that Flower's stepping up a little bit because his Pharah was fantastic.
Yeah, it looked great.
And we're seeing a meta now where Pharah's becoming more and more popular. So this is an option for New York, but the question is, can he keep it going?
Yes.
I will say, I find it a little worrying that they lost Kings Row to the Boston Uprising. NYXL, you should be coming in here and starting crushing. Because if you're starting to ramp up for the playoffs and starting to, get rid of the sandbags and actually start playing, then this is the time where your team coordination and your cohesion should look good, even if all you've been practicing is the Sigma patch. So I'm a little concerned that against what is arguably our bottom team at the moment in terms of the power rankings, that they ended up losing the map.
It comes down to a similar argument, though.
The thing is, it is right now maybe our bottom team, but that has been a team which was on the top, for a bit as well. Not in this meta, unfortunately. They do have the individual talent to be there, though. We do see those great performances from almost everyone on their roster. I do think that it's just some of the role switches which don't suit him as well. I'm still not sold on Blasé on that road.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, no, neither is he, unfortunately. So it just doesn't look cohesive in that way. But arguably for the individual players, you can still make an argument on why it can be rough for the New
Honestly,
York.
it comes back to a point that Josh was just making, which was, are they even prepping for this match?
Probably not.
Why
for
would
this
you not
match
play prep for the playoffs if you've already secured your seed?
I don't know. You should
That's a
be
good
able to
point.
beat Boston even if you're not prepping.
I
I'm
think
worried.
honestly, stop
I'm just
throwing
worried.
shade at Boston.
Yeah, stop throwing shade at Boston. Also, the NYXL are going against the Titans tomorrow, so that's a true test for them.
Yep.
We'll get to see what they're really made of tomorrow, in my opinion.
That's a
from
goat
what I
battle.
think.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed. Well, let's move on to our last match that we're going to be recapping. The Atlanta Reign, another team fighting for playoff seeding. Right now, sitting at number 7. They can clinch number 6 with a win today and a win tomorrow. And they had to do so today against the Dallas Fuel, a team that's been skitting and trying to end their losing streak, end on a good note, so to speak. Weren't able to accomplish that against the Atlanta Reign, who are still looking red hot right now.
I mean, even though there was some fiery words exchanged at the end of this map, everybody from Atlanta that spoke openly about it said that Dallas Fuel actually stepped up today. I think it was Babybay that said this was maybe their most difficult game of Stage 4 so far. So I think that's pretty interesting. It was a good way for Dallas to go out, honestly. I think they did themselves proud. They weren't able to come away with a win, but they actually played some decent Overwatch.
Yeah, for Dallas, though, right now, you're going to be looking towards the future, honestly, and what you want to be doing in 2020. Who are the players you want to continue keeping? I mean, there's a lot of stacked talent on Dallas, and I just feel like a lot of times they just haven't figured out how to unlock it in a lot of these combinations.
Who's the stacked talent on Dallas?
I'd say Note is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. Yeah, I think Zachary probably needs a bit more polish. People like to throw a shade at him, but he had a good Brigitte.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, that's a way to answer my
The
question.
look on Zoe's face just now.
He had a good Brigitte. A lot of people are going to be throwing shade at me for that one, but he did. His Brig was not the worst
No,
thing
I
about the
mean,
Dallas Fuel
honestly,
at that
like
time.
some of the metrics he's putting out on May aren't bad either. I just don't think that this specific playstyle suits the Dallas Fuel's individual players' playstyle.
Yeah.
Because all of them are not just, they're not very passive. They're
Well,
not really
when are we
waiting.
ever going to see a meta that plays into their playstyle?
2016.
They've had so
2016
many-
was the last meta that played
That
in
was
Dallas
sad.
Fuel's playstyle. I totally agree. I mean, it's about looking to the future, but the Atlanta Reign still came out here and they're looking good for this 7-0 stage. They're actually looking like a pretty clean team. The one little snag in it is when they have N-Layer in to play the May. I'm not as comfortable with that version of their roster as I am when Erster's on the main. I think he's just too good to take off it. His Hanzo's outrageous, maybe the best we have in the league along with Corey. But his May is just a carry. And it's so important, that hero right now.
And I mean, it comes down to something earlier in the season. I'm speaking to a lot of pro players. Now, whether this still holds up, but a lot of them believe that the better May will end up winning your team at the end of the day, is what it comes down to a lot of these times, because it comes down to your cooldown usage. And if you've got a player who just likes to waste the cooldowns and isn't that great on the roll, you're going to suffer in the neutral game a lot.
Right, and it looks like Babybay's a little comfortable playing next to that name. Like, you know, whether he be on hit scan or flexing over to Reaper, he looks really comfortable. Another cool fun fact, 9-1-1, his map record with the Atlanta Reign. So
What a beast.
Yeah.
Look at that.
doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Now, with that, the Atlanta Reign are sitting right in 7th place. One step closer to clinching a top 6 spot in our standings, which means they'd avoid our play-in tournament, which is pretty much no man's land. All they have to do is beat Boston tomorrow, and they're locked. So Atlanta's hopes for a top 6 and a perfect stage stay alive, and it seemed like today's win was a little bit personal for Dogman. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, today we kind of got cheesed, and me and Fried kind of didn't dominate on Volskaya. But, you know, we feel pretty confident. I think that, you know, after every game we've beat, like, some of the Team USA players, so there's a little bit of a grudge between all of our American players. We have 5 Americans on our team, and none of them got picked up for Team USA, and we just beat Coach Arrow. So what I can say to Coach Arrow is GG, buddy.
Ooh, Saudi Dogman right there. And it appears he doubled down on his comments in a post-match press conference. According to a tweet from esports writer Connor Knutson, saying that Dogman called Arrow incompetent.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I read the report as well from the Dallas news source, and they were saying, you know, he said, Arrow's a nice guy, I just don't think he's competent in the way that he coaches the Team USA or the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah.
That is some spice.
That's
We've
a lot.
gone a whole season without people being real at all, the whole year, and we're getting real
Last
stuff
weekend,
at the
The
end.
last
let's
week,
go.
we've been waiting for this.
Yeah, I mean, this is also, I got to say, though, I got to call out Dogman, because when he was doing the trials, he said, oh, I didn't get picked for the final 12. I felt like I underperformed in the scrims a lot
That
of
is true.
times. So, I mean, he has said in the past that he felt like he underperformed. Now he's calling that Arrow. I mean, you know, pick a side, stick to it.
So in my opinion, I think what he did during the post-game interview, I think that is fine. I
Oh, yeah, I
understand.
love it. Don't get me wrong.
Understand
It was
the
clout
personal
chasing, for sure.
satisfaction, which is like, well, I didn't get into the team, but I just defeat the coach who didn't want me in the team. So that's gotta feel good. And I think that's fair. And it wasn't really throwing shade at Era per se. Whatever he said in that
Press conference.
So that's taking it a little too far.
But I think it's better if players are real about this stuff.
Yeah.
Esports is such a scene where like you don't want to talk about people that you think are performing poorly, whether that be players or whether that be management, because you want to get picked up by them potentially in the future.
Right.
And then like the same
Yeah,
kind
I just
of
wonder where
coaching
this
cycle around
knowledge
the
is
scene.
coming from. Has he been coached by Era before?
Apparently, no. As
Yeah,
far as
well,
I'm aware.
then,
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
then where
exactly.
is this coming from?
But I do think there's like a really interesting, when you reflect on what Era's been able to accomplish with the Dallas Fuel, you know, he's really hyped coming into it, but it has been a really poor season for Dallas overall. And I think a lot of these questions are going to be answered in not only how does Team USA actually end up performing, because it is weird that Dogman isn't on that roster.
Yeah.
And then also how Dallas rebuild for 2020.
That's
If
true.
they end up failing both of those tests, then
Yeah.
that's rough.
Yeah, I think it was meant to be lighthearted at first, but then it just kind of went a little too far. We saw Unco jumping into it, the situation on Twitter too. It's just
I don't
craziness.
think it's too far. I love it.
Craziness. Last week, you guys bring the spice. Thanks a lot. But we'll see Atlanta again tomorrow in the playoffs. But today is actually our last look at the 2019 Dallas Fuel, and they're heading back to Spawner right now, so let's take a look at that. This is something we're going to do a lot as teams are kind of making their exit from the regular season. Now, the Dallas, they've done a lot this year. They acquired Note from Boston. They made the Stage 2 playoffs.
I love the fire. That's actually
This is
brilliant.
barbecuing, huh?
That's great. What? There's just a bull in the background. that's a true Texas BBQ right there. Man, the losing streak at the end of the season had to be tough for them. Tough one. And this happened right after their homestand.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
But that's a great homestand, so here's the upside.
Yeah, but this really has, just to talk about the loss streak for a while, Dallas have had a really disappointing season again this year. And they had a really disappointing season last year. And they rebuilt hoping that the future would be different. And now they're rebuilding again at the end of 2019. At some point, this team needs to have a big overhaul, I think.
When will this Dallas versus the Fuel feud ever end?
Who knows?
Don't tell us.
Aaron Stevie called it.
Aaron called it.
She knew it. She knew
She
it.
knew. She knew.
She knew.
She knew, man. She's clairvoyant, indeed. But let's end on a high note for Dallas. How amazing was that first homestand?
That was fantastic.
Phenomenal, actually. I mean, I will say the LA Valiants homestand that we're here at right now, I think has been amazing from like the fan perspective. There's so much to do if you're a fan walking in. The games have been amazing. But the crowd in Dallas was on another level. I mean, there's something to be said about your bones vibrating when Dallas were walking out. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing.
Yeah.
That gave us so much energy, and it certainly fueled those players, no pun intended.
That was horrific, terrible
I
pun.
think it was actually
Hey,
amazing.
I
and so was the
fist
Dallas
bump it.
Fuel. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, they had a decent performance here, and OG really stepped up, and they looked like they were getting things together, but then leadership issues, internal crumbling, this kind of stuff. But I have faith that next year, when Dallas are hosting this many homestands over again, and maybe they've rebuilt for the future, that they can maybe use that kind of momentum they'll get from having that many home games and really try and ride the momentum, because it does seem to make a difference for these teams in this league.
Indeed, indeed. It seemed like that whole weekend in Dallas was just full of crazy moments. I'm mad that I missed it. But speaking of our top moments of the day, they're coming up right after we get back here on the Watchpoint pre-show after the break. So stay tuned.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
It is time for our over-the-top moments of the day. Starting off with something that would make our co-host Puckett very happy. Sinatra on Doomfist, hard carry, King's Row here.
Yeah, I mean, both of the Doomfist look pretty crisp. So Minsu wasn't bad either, but Sinatra had fantastic moments.
Yeah, I love Doomfist.
All I'm saying is I saw Puckett in wardrobe, and he wasn't supposed to be in wardrobe today, so he had to change it up.
He had that fun. Inlair had a crazy flashbang on AKM earlier today, was really nice.
Big mistake from AKM.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows he's playing against a McCree that has flashbang up. He just beefs the
I mean, to be fair,
spacing.
I guess you kind of think that you're out of range there, but yeah, it's a unique ability.
He got stunned. All right, moving on. Architect and Rascal wiping the whole entire Vancouver Titan squad.
Not a good play, honestly. You should kill them slower next time so they get more time on the point. No, I'm joking, of course. Architect, what a phenomenal player. Really stepped up as a damage dealer. Potentially one of the best damage dealers we've got currently in the league as it stands.
Yeah, big Q press.
Pure deletion from the San Francisco Shock right there. Ah, that was lovely. Lovely. Number 2, all the splash tank festivities that went down today. Oh, every team that lost had a super fan that went in.
I hope the water
And we're not done with the splash tank fun.
Oh, I love it because I just get to see you two.
It's actually, I know it's going to be me. I know
only
it's
gonna
going to
be
be me getting in the splash time.
I hope
Oh,
so.
she should have got splashed for that dab.
Yeah.
They should have just dropped her in the tank.
Why is he putting his hands up?
I love it as well because the fans get more into the game. Was that
Was
a
that a
leg?
leg
A
dab?
leg dab? That was a leg dab. Splash that
Whoa.
man.
Get him out!
They should have splashed him.
Ban him from the venue.
Oh,
The
man.
leg
Man, Alex,
dab.
I'm going to find him and throw him in there. All right, our last one is the Battle of LA, and our winners, the LA Gladiators, who look amazing tonight, came through us, sure for hard carrying today.
Yeah.
No, he just at one point he was just like, you know what, I can't be bothered with this anymore, and he just like popped off in the second half. That was
Bothered with this.
yeah, no,
In
but
fact, I wanna
second
go
half
on,
he
so-
just went on.
One of the most interesting things about Sureforce Hanzo is he doesn't really get many Storm Arrow kills. It's long-range kills. So he plays in positions where he can't really get punished. But when his aim's on, that means there's no counter to it.
Yeah.
He just mops up.
But I love that though. So he doesn't put himself in harm's way, which is phenomenal for the team, obviously.
Indeed, indeed. Now let's take a look at our Twitch cheerleader board. Brent, you mind taking this one?
Sure, Lancer Rain sitting at number 1, nice and pretty, 5.2k. I don't really see the LA Valiant here. We're gonna have to change a couple of things. Gonna have to speak to upper management about that one. But other than that, I don't think too much has changed really. Gladiators are really high up actually as well.
And of course, our individuals given the most.
So many new people here. Whoa!
yeah.
We've got new people.
Loads of new people. These
Okay, let's
I knew you were going to call that out. I knew it right off the bat.
number 7.
Not
That's amazing.
these nuts. We also have Nada Silver. We have Inca Void.
I'm a big fan
Elf
of the-
Kinks.
I like Puckhead.
Yeah, the
Puckhead.
25-year-old
Puckhead.
Puckett fan.
Switzerlandia is on the board too.
right,
Shouts
all
out
right.
to Switzerlandia.
Oh, it's so
Wow.
exciting when there's new people.
New people.
Yes,
I didn't
love
think
it.
I could get this excited about this cheer report, but today really did it.
This they delivered today.
Woo.
Mama Shimada
Thanks,
moving up
guys.
too on the board too is awesome. I love it. I love it.
The rivalry weekend.
amazing.
It is the rivalry weekend indeed. Well, guys, don't go anywhere because we're going to end this show with a splash. It's Bryn, Zoe. Loser of the bet is getting wet. Watchpoint Postshow. We'll be
gonna
back
be
in a
I
splash.
can feel it. It's gonna be me.
Or a flash. No, a splash.
No, definitely.
Definitely
Splash.
applicable.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Gladiators, Valiant, thank you both so much for coming in today. As you know, the 7th Battle for LA is coming up. And as two super successful and super rich movie producers, we have got the perfect idea for you.
That's why the Overwatch League hired us, the brains that brought you DJ Khaled at the grand finals last year, to really hype up the match this year.
What can I say? We know what the people want.
It's totally lit 100, fam, am I right?
You guys have been in Hollywood long enough. You're big stars, and we need to embrace that. And what better way than with a big blockbuster Hollywood movie? And what's a Hollywood movie without an epic Hollywood trailer?
We're talking smoke. We're talking lasers. We're talking explosions.
Boom!
Why are there explosions?
Listen, we're talking karate. We're talking overly dramatic VO. We're talking shirtless weightlifting. Uh-oh.
This seems a little excessive.
That's Hollywood, baby.
So what do you guys say? Are you ready to make some cinema history?
In a world, in a country, there lies a city of angels, and a city of warriors. A city where dreams come true and nightmares become reality. Where heroes are born and villains meet virtuous justice.
Goats, you can't handle the goats.
Where Valkyries trumpet the sounds of cacophonous chaos and the sentry charge in with righteous indignation. Guys, I know I've said some stuff in my time on broadcast, but this might be the most preposterous script I've ever read.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're not actually going to put this in a final cut, dude. Like, you don't expect me to say this word for word, do you?
Oobs. Relax, my man. Can I call you Oobs? Listen, Chris Puckett. Ever heard of the guy? Esports Hall of Fame. Before he met us, guy was stocking shelves at a grocery store in Ohio. How about Golden Boy? Guy's all over the place. Might as well have been called Bronze Boy before he met the two of us. You're fine.
Bloody Americans. Where men can wield dangerous power. And where space can make space in space. A battle that comes once in a life, 7 times in 2 seasons. For all of the rights of the Southland. It's a battle with wings out. And shields up. A civil conflict for the very soul of a city. It is the battle for Los Angeles. 7.
This just might be my masterpiece.
It's so lit.
So lit. So lit.
Well, the Battle of LA, it did not disappoint. But for Watchpoint, the main event starts now. Sawyer and Bryn, their fates hang in the balance. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look at this bet that went down earlier today on the pre-show.
The rivalry weekend, you've got a rivalry there. You're willing to make a bet on it?
Sure.
All right.
He literally had not a single good argument.
There are splash tanks downstairs.
Oh, God, yes. Get
so
me
what
in.
I'm thinking is the loser of the bet is in the splash tank.
I like that.
But we can't make it so simple as just a winner. We'll do it on hero damage done.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with that.
No, you're
with
gonna
that.
get outplayed on every single metric by the Valiants.
So there we go.
All right. Take a bet. All right. I like how you threw that bet in there.
Yeah, it's great. A little side hustle that I'm not involved in. It can only go well for me because I get to watch at least one of my co-workers get dunked.
Right.
I'm hoping it's a draw personally, so they both go in.
go in. It's going to be interesting. So Bryn or Zoe are moments away from getting splashed. And Josh, I can only imagine their nerves right now. We've seen a few people already get dunked today already, right?
Yeah,
the reactions were priceless.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible, actually. Like, just seeing the fans have all of that tension built up was phenomenal. So we've got you hate to see it here as well. Look at this Boston Uprising fan. Just moments before his team could have potentially taken it to a 5th map, it was all looking so good. Boston were about to clutch, and then, oh no, the spawners have come in. Oh, the spawners. Oh, what's happening?
Yo.
New York, they're clutching. And suddenly he knows his fate.
I'm getting splashed. Oh my God.
That's what you hate to see it.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Man.
Except I love to see it.
Yeah.
As with all of the.
This is all your master plan, dude. Right, coming together. All right. Well, I'm getting the word. Yeah, Bren and Zoe are in position. So let's go ahead and send it down to Golden Boy and get things splashing.
1, great toss, Malik. Obviously, you're a pro. 2, do want to say something real fast. This was supposed to be Brent and Sideshow, but Sideshow forgot his swim trunks. He's a bot. Can't really do anything about that. Also, I'm very happy to be here and have an opportunity to, splash, right? My coworkers. It's going to be a good time. So, the winner of the bet, or I should say the loser, I think we're just going to go ahead and pull the lever and find out who it is. 3, 2, 1. Bren, you suck at guessing things that don't really mean anything. Oh, man, I tell you, it's impressive. It's honestly impressive that Bren managed to screw this up. But one thing I have to say, man, these Kit Kat splash tanks, man, these things are sturdy. Sorry, I definitely want one of these in my home. Yeah, right? She definitely does. I mean, feel this thing, man. This is nuts. Like, look how heavy this thing is. Oh, man. We're going to win an Emmy, people. That's it. Right here. How you feel, Zoe?
I love you.
Yes. I'll tell you. These things are pretty sturdy. Pretty sturdy.
I don't think this balcony is sturdy enough. I almost fell off laughing at that.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, Alex just with the casual type up, so I had no idea.
Is that true? Did you forget your swim trunks?
No, I definitely deliberately wore jeans today, but for no good reason. I wore black jeans in the sun just because I enjoy being warm in the middle of LA.
I like how you did that. Really missed out on the splash tank. Well, guys, that was a lot of fun. Thanks, Golden Boy, for the toss. And we're going to let Zoe and Brent soak up for a bit, maybe dry off a little bit. But we will be back tomorrow for another day of the Kit Kat Rivalry Weekend, our last day of the regular season here at the Overwatch League 2019 season. We will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Peace out.